Okay. So, hi everyone. Welcome to Impaction's 20th video session. We are essentially talking to a group of social entrepreneurs today, discussing their ideas, their products, and trying to find a way that we can collaborate and support each other. But before we get started, we've got a lot of new people on this call today. So we're ultimately just going to introduce Impaction very briefly so we can get to your ideas. So essentially at Impaction, we believe that it's the social impact space is relatively inaccessible in that we believe that the current social impact space tells us that we need to create a venture in order to make a positive impact in the world. But for a lot of people, a majority of people, that is a huge barrier, and they don't have the time and the effort to essentially contribute to the space. So we're making the space a lot more accessible to people, and just to show how collaboration and even inspiring people can also create a ripple effect in the space. So essentially, we are trying to distribute the power that like a collective society can have, and we are trying to create an international community, even overseas, to empower each other to start making a change in their local communities. So we're joined by new people here today, and we're just really excited to hear from like-minded people in this space. So like I said, purpose of the video session is to hear from people face to face, talk about their ideas, and just to stay updated on what's going on in the space. So before we start, Sukanya, my co-founder, and I will briefly introduce ourselves, and then I'm going to ask Mari and Maribel to introduce themselves as well, as they are entrepreneurs and key leaders in the space as well. And then we'll ask for everyone to introduce yourselves. So I want to start. I'm Shivani, one of the co-founders of Impaction. We started Impaction about a year and a half ago, in July 2017. I just recently graduated from GW University in public policy. And I now work at Chicago Public Schools as a budget and grants analyst, but also do Impaction as well. And my interest in the social impact space is around education in particular, how to make that more accessible to traditionally excluded communities around the world. And I'm located in Chicago. Sukanya, why don't you go next?
Hi, all of you. I'm Sukanya and I'm from Chennai, India. I hold a bachelor's in information technology and master's in human resource management and labor relations. Myself and Shivani met while interning at Ashoka Innovators for the Public 2 years ago. My main interest in the social impact space is improving the lives of orphan kids, how to provide them with a better education and living standards. So that's an overview about myself, and currently I'm working as an HR generalist in Texas. And over to you, Maribel.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maribel Rodriguez, and I am very excited to share my favorite project called Love for Immigrants, using the power of photography to show the value and dignity that immigrants bring to this country. Recently, I taught social entrepreneurship at School Without Walls in Washington, D.C., and graduated with my master's about a year ago in social entrepreneurship. So I'm very excited to learn about you all and your social innovation ideas.
Thank you, Maribel. And then Mari, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sorry, Mari.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. My name is Mari Ganapathy. I have 25 years of experience in technology and finance. And like 10 years ago, I graduated MBA from Johns Hopkins University. And I have so far did 2 startups, one in technology side. And currently I'm managing investment advisor firm called Samatwa Wealth Management, and handling the asset management for a lot of clients. In addition to that, I'm also helping few startups in DC area. I'm one of the lead mentor in the Startup Ignite Accelerator. and helping the founders to validate their idea and take that into the market and try different segments, and also provide networking opportunity and also initial angel and investment opportunities. I'm happy to help you guys. Thank you, Sean.
Yeah, thank you, Mari. So yeah, like ultimately, like we said, we're going to speak to all of you, and we want to ultimately hear from all of you and have you introduce yourselves. So why don't you go first, Wilson?
Hello everyone.
Hi.
If I'm to introduce myself, hi. Am I audible enough?
We can hear you.
All right. Cause like it seems like my network is poor, but I did also a bachelor in business information and communication technology, and I have a master's in global navigation satellite systems. So much interested into entrepreneurship. I'm planning to start up a company. I haven't ventured into it yet. I'm still doing business planning and everything. So I'm here just to learn a lot about entrepreneurship and to hear from different people about their experiences.
Great. Thank you so much, Wilson, for being here. Christine, Nikita, and Nandini, why don't you go next?
Okay. Good morning. I'm Nandini J.
I'm Nikita Bolajapalli. And I'm Christine Trong.
We are incoming sophomores at Clarksburg High School and are the founders of Food in Need.
Can you tell us a little bit more about Food in Need?
Yeah. Well, each year, produce industries waste millions of foods through their unsold goods. So this problem may not be as infamous as other major environmental factors like pollution and littering, but in fact, America leads the world in food waste. So that's where Food in Need comes in. We're a website that allows retail companies like grocery stores and restaurants and produce industries to connect with local homeless shelters to donate their food products that they would otherwise waste, so that these goods won't go to waste, but instead go to people who need them.
Food in Need is a clear alternative for produce industries that will help both the environment and in need. We hope to continue to expand our idea and make it as a popular known option for produce stores nationwide.
Thank you. Thank you, Food in Need team. I'm sure we have a lot of thoughts to contribute to both Wilson and then your team as well. Brian. I'm afraid. Yeah.
Hello? Am I coming through? Okay. Hi, everyone. Hello from New York. My name is Brian Lai. I'm one of the co-founders of Abe's Meats, and we are a social impact food brand that's dedicated to fostering cultural and religious harmony through the power of food. We produced the first ever interfaith meats that were both kosher and halal, and currently we're also looking into producing hummus products as well. But really through our products, we carry a triple bottom line, very common for social impact ventures, to hit a lot of social, environmental, and economic issues that are compounded not only within our communities, but also within the food space. And yeah, we're very excited to be here and would love to talk to anyone about the startup life and also specifically if anyone has any food expertise and consumer packaged goods.
Awesome. That sounds great. We've got a great selection of people on this call today. And I know some of you had participated in the social innovation competition. I know Brian Mohammed reached out to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it was a little after we closed rounds for the competition, so we weren't able to work with y'all, but we just wanted to hear a little bit more about your particular experience in the social entrepreneurship field, and actually like some of the things that you are looking for in order to find a group that can help support you in your individual journeys. So we can leave it open. I'm not going to call people out, but if you want to volunteer and like start this conversation, we would love to hear from you.
Sure. So in terms of the social impact space in general, I'd say, we've been involved in this venture officially as a corporation, a social impact corporation, for a little over a year, but the work really extends far before that. And I think, one of the biggest things, so it was great. Thank you so much for connecting with Mohammed. One of the things that we've noticed about social impact ventures in particular is the entrepreneurs have a great story, have a great passion for what they do. In our case, and I'll be very brief, for Mohammed, he was inspired to do this whole thing and with this idea around 2016, the presidential election cycle. I think we saw rising levels of anti-Semitism and anti-Muslim bigotry. And we saw things in the new administration that really purported that, whether it was travel bans, ripple effects resulting in tiki torch marches and things of that nature. And so what this really inspired him to do was to host a dinner between Jewish, Muslim, and really all allies, just to talk about our social issues. But what he realized was that sourcing halal and kosher was a bit complicated. Traditionally, they're separate verticals. And that's kind of where the idea came from, to be like, hey, here we are at an interfaith dinner, which we called Shabbat Salam, a play on words of Salam Alaikum and Shabbat Shalom. Here we are together at this dinner, only to eat from separate plates and ultimately sit separately. And so, for that experience for Mohammed to see that, that's what really inspired him. And fortunately, when you have a genuine story like that and you're able to articulate it and really build a brand and campaign around it to build up your venture, I think that's the most important aspect that we've seen, along with other ventures as well.
Mm-hmm. I think you come from like an interesting background where essentially we keep hearing that the narrative, that the social innovation journey, what inspired that person to want to enter in this space, ultimately makes the biggest difference. I mean, obviously in terms of marketing, obviously in terms of branding, but also about like it brings you, when you're so far into the journey, it kind of brings you back into, why did I do this in the first place?
Absolutely.
I think especially for your particular company, because you're so like heavy laden in like the political and cultural atmosphere around it, that kind of inspired it. But does anyone have like any feedback or anything that they want to say? Questions, anything?
So Brian, a quick question. So are you planning to be 100% not-for-profit?
So we are for-profit. We're going to follow a B Corp model, a benefit corporation model. And, we believe for us, we can really drive our social impact and economic and environmental impact initiatives in a for-profit scale. We do have nonprofit visions, and we have also put on nonprofit types of events, but for us, we think the venture is scalable in a for-profit, almost hybridized manner.
Okay, that's good. So for profit, what kind of a revenue model you're aiming?
Sure. So for our meat business model, we took some time doing some surveys and talking to some food experts, and we believe for the value proposition for interfaith meat in particular could follow a B2B model, B2B2C as well, similar to if you think of Impossible Foods and what they've done with Impossible Burgers, rolling it out through various establishments like Burger King and now Red Robin, while still having a very strong brand presence in those stores. For us, we see our interfaith meat being rolled out in that manner, having the Abe's Eats branding as well. And what that will signify to our communities is that, hey, this space, this food establishment is inclusive. It means I can eat there. And because one of the issues we're trying to solve is accessibility for faith-based foods around the country. And so we think not only in food establishments, but also in universities, in airlines, and things of that nature.
Okay, so the revenue model, you're going to try to have a partnership with these businesses and try to get the revenue from them.
Correct. And then to supplement that core model for revenue growth, we also have, that interfaith dinner that I was talking about, the Shabbat Salam, that's very much a part of who we are. We think that's also part of what Abe's Eats is about. And so for us, it's about putting on those community engagement events to really push that impact forward as well.
That's good. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
So Brian, I have a question for you. So there are many areas where people need help to grow their business. So in which particular area you think you need help to grow your business? From what you said, I could understand you need like a lot of marketing work to be done to get your product out there and to develop a partnership model. Is marketing your key area that you want to improve to grow your business, or is there any other particular area that you need assistance with?
Sure. Yeah, no, thank you for that question. I would say at this point in time, we're working very hard towards building and scaling our supply chain. At the end of the day, even in a social impact venture, the entrepreneurial struggles and growing pains are still very real across any sort of entrepreneurship opportunity. And for us, it's about constantly connecting with people within the food industry, people with expertise from everything from packaging to fulfillment. And so for us, that's kind of where our largest need lies. And marketing, is always one of those things that it doesn't stop. But for us, I'd say our supply chain and scaling up operations, only because until now, and especially as a small food brand in particular, without a ton of capital already at hand, you're really trying to get by and make margins somewhat palatable while utilizing co-packers and other vendors that you wouldn't normally use if you were at a much larger scale.
Perfect. I got that.
Thank you, Brian. I feel like when we move forward with each entrepreneur on this call, we'll take these calls also individually so we can talk more in detail about your idea, Brian. But thank you for sharing. Either Wilson, Christine's gang, all of you guys can go next, whoever wants to volunteer. Not all at once, please. All right. Okay.
Maybe let's start with Wilson. Wilson, have you started some minimum viable product, or have you started to roll out your product or service, or you're still in the process of validating your idea?
So we plan to deploy like drones into agriculture sector to assist farmers with real-time information and also to help in the automation to reduce the number of hours they use, let's say in spraying pesticides on the crops. So basically, I'm still figuring it out and validating the idea and looking for the information, the suppliers of the drones, and also learning about how the software can be deployed. Yeah, basically, it's now the process I'm in.
So what kind of information you're going to collect using the drones?
I want to detect the soil, soil and also the it would be like things that would affect the crops in the field. Let's say diseases or bugs, something like that.
Okay.
Yes.
And are you planning to provide these as, so who will be your customers? Is it a farmers?
My customers would be farmers because in our country we have a lot of, they have been grouped in cooperatives. So it's basically easy to work with cooperatives and also the agriculture ministry.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it is working with farmers, but through their cooperatives, the management of the cooperatives.
Are there any particular crops that you are thinking of like targeting in your first few in the first phase that you're working in?
Yeah, actually, I'm thinking about two crops. First is maize crops, and then coffee.
Okay.
Yeah, maize and coffee.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
All right. I think so. There are a couple of innovations that I can think of that might be able to like provide some sort of might give you ideas and how to scale this and like start learning more about the marketing and not the marketing, the sector overall. And I can send over some of that information to you, and we can like talk about it more in detail, and then we can work together.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. I'll send that to you after this call. But there are a couple of farmers in parts of Asia and maybe Northern Africa that have been working with like data-driven, maybe not drones in particular. There's maybe one or two articles that I saw about drones, but there are a couple of farmers in this area to optimize the yield for their particular crops. And even like to forecast how that data will be how the crops will flourish in the future, just depending on weather pattern and some of the other factors that you came up with. But yeah, we can talk about this more in detail. This is a really cool initiative. Yeah, both of you, thank you. Do you have any like other questions or anything before we move on to food in need?
I'm good.
No, I'm okay. I'm good too.
Actually, like, and then the question that we asked Brian, what are some of the needs that you have, like in particular, to develop the MVP and move forward in your journey?
The question is, what kind of the challenges do you have, Wilson, currently? What challenges do you have currently?
Oh, you talked about challenges?
Yes, yeah, challenges, yeah.
Well, the challenges currently I'm facing is like I'm still gathering the right connections. The right connections, like in the cooperatives and then the ministry, to sell the idea and then get support from them. And the other thing would be to get quality suppliers of the kind of systems I want and the devices I want to use.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Wilson. All right.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Of course. Moving on to food in need. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourselves?
So for food in need, we essentially want, retail companies grocery stores, restaurants to know that they have another option, an alternative to place their unsold goods, because it was proven that thousands and almost all produce stores, they throw away their unsold goods in landfills, and most of them, they don't know that they have any other option to put it, but instead of throwing them away, they can donate it to homeless shelters who struggle every day to try to get these goods. So Food in Need kind of acts as like a connection and like a website that will help connect retail companies and food stores to be able to find their local homeless shelter and donate the food to them.
Can you, so if I'm a restaurant, or if I'm a retailer, can you lead me through the process of like walking through your website? Like what is the process that I would see when I want to donate food?
Yeah, so once they go to our website, they can discover shelters near them. Like they can, through our website, it would show that they would have to locate their address, and then it would list like local homeless shelters near them, and they have a list of contact numbers, email addresses, and they can also contact them through our website. There's a live chat feature where the homeless shelter and the store owner or restaurant owner can contact them and talk with them to discuss a way to donate their food.
Okay. What about logistic? How are you guys are going to handle the logistics problem? Remember, at some point you have to ship the food from the retail or restaurant to the shelters, right? So did you guys thought about who will be handling that logistics?
Yeah, so we were thinking because like another one of our goals is getting like more people involved. So once we do that, we'll have like people like volunteers especially who will be able like to find volunteers in their area to deliver the food or produce to and from the companies to the shelters.
Okay. So the volunteer is like an external, like third party who isn't affiliated with the homeless shelter or the restaurant, or are they affiliated with the homeless shelter as well?
They're not affiliated with the homeless shelter or in this example like a restaurant. They're yeah, so it's like it's a third party.
Like now, many high schoolers and middle schoolers, they're looking for SSL hours, and this can also act as a way to earn their SSL hours.
Yeah. So you're partnering with, I mean not partnering, but you have connections with the school, the homeless shelter, and the restaurant as well, right? So it's like you're the medium between the three.
Yes.
Got it. Very cool. So,
can I ask? I have a question to Kristen. How do they ensure about the quality of food? How do they ensure about the quality of food they get like from those suppliers, restaurant owners, and everything like that?
Oh, he's asking about how the quality can be like.
Oh, okay. Well, we we want to make sure like the food they donate towards us, it shouldn't be like over or expired. I mean, even if there is an expiring date, but at up to 15 days, it's actually still fresh. They just do expiring dates so that the food will look fresh. But even we can still bring expiring foods in up to 15 days. They're still good to use. So we just have to check the expiration dates and just make sure like none of the foods are like completely rotten beyond use.
Yeah, these store owners and restaurant owners, they would only be able to donate the food that is still able to use. And beyond food, they can also donate like products like towels, soaps, and cleaning stuff.
So that means, are you saying the quality check will be done at the suppliers, either the restaurant or the, for example, the groceries? So it's their responsibility to make sure that the quality of food, whatever they're donating, is good.
No, I think it would be better for like the food shelters to do it. I've actually been to a food shelter and I've like volunteered, and we do check, but it's better like also people like third parties, they can volunteer at food shelters to check like which food is being able to consume by the people.
Wilson, does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay.
Though some of the network was poor, I think I will download the video maybe to listen it very carefully, because like the network was on and off.
That's fair. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I think Suganya, you had some question, right? Try to ask something.
Yes. So basically, you can improve your business, your approach, and everything when you find volunteers to provide food to the homeless shelters. Would that help in improving your business, or there are like other areas where you need help? Could you brief us about that more?
Yes. So volunteer wise, the volunteers would be not only helping being like third party members in order to get the food where it should be. That would help us a lot. That's what we're counting on. But also
we also like want to expand ideas to like other regions, so that like in the US, because food waste is a problem throughout the whole country, and we really want to help like people in need.
Okay. So remind me, where are you testing and starting off with this idea? Where's your location?
Clarksburg, Maryland.
Wait, I'm sorry?
Clarksburg,
In Maryland.
Got it. Okay, cool. Can you tell us a little bit about like the metrics behind what you've seen, like how many volunteers you have, like homeless shelters, how many like restaurants you worked with, stuff like that?
We're still an idea. We're trying to
like okay.
Yeah, we're trying to contact food shelters so that they can work with us and like food industries too.
But there are a lot of grocery stores and food shelters that we know of in our area, and we have certain ideas of how to contact them, and we also know of other places, especially like things like grocery store chains, where we can like contact the whole chain, and that way expand to other regions.
Okay, cool, very cool. So you started, when did you start this journey? Tell us a little bit more about how you came up with this idea.
Started like last month.
We started last month, and we just came up with this idea, and like I've actually, when I volunteered for a food bank, I just realized like how much like waste is like happening, like not just in the state in Maryland, but like also throughout the country. And I was like, we need to do something about this.
Okay, awesome. That's really cool. So that's like a fresh idea, but yeah, that's really cool. I think Suganya has one last thing to say for your idea.
Yes, so we would be able to help you in these 5 following areas: financial planning, marketing, HR, and if you need any technical assistance and with grants writing. So if you need any help in these 5 areas, could reach out to us, and even we will be sending you an email, separate individual emails with whatever we could offer to help you guys grow and be successful and sustain.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is a really cool. Yeah, all three of you, like these, you guys are kind of working in different parts of the food industry. Like one is more technological based, the other is an app, the other is like a restaurant and more cultural. So it shows how expansive these like this particular sector is, even though it's like a relative niche. So that's really cool. I think Mari has a few points that he wants to add that can be maybe words of advice. So if you guys have a notepad or anything to jot points down, please do. But Mari, go ahead and take it away.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to go through the few critical points. Please make sure that try to follow these down the road as you guys move forward with your journey. The first is idea validation. Remember, you guys have a wonderful, great ideas, correct? But the thing is, you have to validate whether the idea works. So for that, you have to do two things. Please write it down. One is, it's called customer survey or customer interviews, because you guys all know who is your customers, correct? I think, yeah, Wilson, I know your customer, you said it's going to be your farmers, correct? And Brian, I think your customers are one who are going to receive the finals, the food impact service. And same thing, Christina and your team, your customers are the people living in shelters, correct? So they are the end customers. But along with that, everybody has the other stakeholders. For example, food and need, you guys have the restaurant and groceries. They are the suppliers. Then also you have to worry about the home shelters. Then also your volunteers or the logistic providers. So you have like three different stakeholders. And Wilson, I know you also have your government related stakeholders involved. So identify all your stakeholders. You have to talk to them. It's called interviews, correct? So now you have the idea. Talk to each one of the stakeholder and explain to them what you're trying to do, whether it will work or not, or get their feedback. And then try to incorporate as part of your business solution. Okay, definitely do that and never stop that, because remember, your customers are the one you are trying to provide value, correct? So always talk to your customers, keep hearing what they want, because you may have a different idea about your customer, but in reality, maybe their need may be a little bit different. Okay, so that's why keep talking to them, never stop, and kind of extract what they need and try to incorporate that into your business. Because that's going to drive more value, and down the road, you are going to end up with more customers and also deliver more value. Okay. Then another thing is, when you are doing this, remember, try to have a fix on one small market segment, because as a startup, it's very difficult to go after a big segment because we don't have that money and the team. So that's why I always start with very, very small niche segment. So Wilson, for your case, I would recommend choose very few farmers, okay, and also maybe one government agency in one local area, okay, even if it's a small village, you can do that. And same thing, Brian, with your area too. Let's try to focus on one small community, try to roll out. And food and need, same thing. Pick one restaurant and one grocery store, or maybe a few shelters, and maybe 10, 20 volunteers, do the rollout. So always go with a very small one to try out your idea. So that I'm pretty sure make mistakes. Okay, don't worry about that. But you can learn a lot and apply all your mistakes and experience, so that when you scale it, you can do it pretty smoothly. And I would like to give a real life examples. Okay, don't worry about the failures. I know you all guys know about Melissa and Dad, right? They started the toy company because they want to be different shade from other toy company, because they decided to produce the toys in wood. You won't believe it. You know, they made 600 toys and the customers rejected it. Imagine 600 toys. Okay, but finally they could succeed after 601, 602 and go on. Now you guys know Melissa and Doug, they are selling toys in billions. Okay, so don't worry about the failures. And another one example I'll give, Dyson. Remember the vacuum cleaner, the backless vacuum cleaner? He tried 5,000 times. Okay, he tried to produce his product. He had 5,000 failures, but he never stopped. Okay, he always tried different ideas and products, and finally he could produce one great successful vacuum cleaner. And you guys might have known about Wright brothers. Before he can make one successful flight in Hitchcock, actually he failed 1,000 times. Not many people, I'm not sure, knew that, because he tried to have the successful flight. He pretty much failed 1,000 times before he could fly successfully. So the reason I'm just keep on telling these stories, the failures should never stop you guys. Okay, all these success people had failures, but the thing is, they never give up. They keep on trying. So have that mentality as you guys move forward. Then the next thing is the team. Okay, to succeed in your startup, the team is very, very critical. Okay, so try to find your core team members down the road, because initially maybe you are 1 or 2 people, but at some point, remember, you need a team members who can support in technology area, and sales and business development, and marketing and branding, and finance and HR, accounting. I think Suganya offered that service. So if you down the road, if you guys need any help, please reach out to them, okay, or reach out to your mentors and advisors. So you're not alone, okay. And the third important thing is networking. The networking is a very, very critical thing. Okay, I'll give you the real life example how you can find good people, because through networking only you can find your team members, your mentors, your advisors. So I would recommend try to attend a lot of events. Okay, the business events in your area. For example, the people who are in United States, you can please check out meetups. There is a website called meetups.com, and there is a website called Eventbrite. You can find the local business events happening around your area. So you can go and attend and mingle with the people, and you can find a lot of connections. And Wilson, probably you can do the same thing in your area. So try to attend a lot of conferences, events. So that's how you are going to get the connections. Okay. And another thing, you can also talk to the other founders and CEOs, find out how they found the other connections. Okay. Then the next thing is the communication. The communication is very, very important. When I say communication, try to do like a newsletter type of thing. Send out weekly or monthly to your connections, your friends, your mentors. Tell them how your business is progressing and what challenges you guys are having. So by sending this communication, so the others will know what kind of services you need, then they will definitely get help. So that's why the constant communication is very, very essential. Then the last thing I would like to insist is the ecosystem. So always part of the ecosystem. I know you guys, the good thing, you're doing the right thing. Now you're part of the My Impaction Team, correct? So it is one of the ecosystem. So similarly, try to part of the startup world, attend a lot of events and connect with the mentors and advisors who help the startups. So that's very, very important. Yeah, I think those are the main points I would like to insist. Probably, I think I will work with Shivani and Suganya will do some quick write-up summary of what are the things you guys need to consider down the road, and probably will share it with you guys probably next week. Okay.
Thank you, Mari. And I do also want to ask Maribel about like what she thinks in terms of these innovators' journeys and what they should be looking for in the near future. So I'll hand it over to you, Maribel.
Sure. Thank you again. I wanted to say how impressed I was with all of you, and really I think the personal relevance when I worked with Learn Serve International, we talked to students about their personal relevance. How is that issue relevant to their own personal experience or those around them that they've seen? And that builds a lot of empathy. So I already heard from 2 people here that it started with a very real issue that you've experienced, like food in need. Saw this issue, some of the team members when they volunteered, and these are the kinds of stories, memories that will help you when the going gets tough, and reconnecting with that issue, because there will be challenges, like was said before. And I think one of the strongest motivators when you're exhausted, when you're drained, when there are competing priorities, like different opinions, just money wise or graduation for some of you, is that empathy and going back to the issue and the people that really are suffering because of that problem. So that's one thing I wanted to say. And I think the second thing is sharing resources. I'm more than happy to share resources with you for food in need, especially. I can see some sort of just quick research, even if it's just for an hour, to say, hey, who are those in my community or in different parts of the United States that have worked on this issue, and how have they solved some of the barriers that I will face? I think it's really important to look at others, learn from them, even just maybe jump on a call and say, hey, I would love to learn from you because I'm trying to do this in my community, and I'm facing this problem. I could think of already one organization called DC Central Kitchen, and they had facing some of the same issues. So I'm thinking already, wow, in the future, you're thinking about having volunteers for students and they have limited free time after like maybe 3:30 or 4. So what's going to happen before, during the day? And maybe these organizations face those issues. And for Brian Lay, I would like to, I don't know if you can hear me. I think I'm cutting.
Yep, I can hear.
Yeah. I would love to connect you with Luby Ismail. I'm currently collaborating with her on a project called We All Belong, which is like an extension of Love for Immigrants. And she created her own organization because of the 9/11 effects on hate crime rising, and they invited her to do different kinds of workshops. I just think she's a fabulous person to connect with, since she is a leader in the space of inclusive, of interfaith and diversity. And she also comes from a faith background, Muslim American, and has been through some of those challenges herself, and is an excellent communicator. She won a White House award. So if you want to look at someone who has a touching speech, it's not a pitch that is boring and just about data, which is helpful. It's touching and it's moving. And if you want to learn from people that can move an audience, I think looking at her story would be really powerful for everyone. And so those are my last words for you all, but definitely feel free to reach out if you have any questions. I really love sharing resources. That's my forte. So let me know what you may need along the way.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Maribel. Thank you, Mari. And I think like with all these resources that we shared with you, we'll send out a separate email to all of you so you can check out some of the names, some of the resources that Maribel suggested, a couple of points that Mari made. Wilson, I will reach out to you about some of those articles that I read about the farmers. I think like just in terms of moving forward, we like really emphasize the need to like for peer-to-peer collaboration. So ultimately, like collaboration is like the highest power that we can have to spread accountability, bring more people onto the space. So like the more we help each other, the more we help the world. So essentially, yeah, I think we're running close to time right now, but if anyone has any last minute thoughts, we would love to hear from you. Good.
Oh, someone's gonna say something.
Okay. Yeah, I think like just in terms of moving forward, please do let us know if you want to connect personally with anyone else on this call. Either email us or just pop a message in this conversation itself, and we'll make the connection happen. But in the meantime, please keep all of these points in mind when you're moving forward in your journey, no matter where you are, because like there are ways that like more incremental steps that you can take in order to make like a sustainable, viable idea. And I think like just please stay connected with our community. We can help you. Like people overseas can help you through the power of the internet and technology. But we have these video sessions regularly every other week. So the next one is where we're going to interview Sherry Kurtikal, the founder of Victim's Voice, which is a platform that aims to fix the legal documentation burdens victims face when recalling details for abuse, harassment, and discrimination. So she's taking it a step to work beyond the law and ultimately help victims spread their voice. So if you want to join the session, please let me know. But in the meantime, we'll stay connected. Please look out for an email from all of us. And if you want to schedule some like one-on-one time with some of our mentors on this call or with me or with Sukanya, we would love to help you. But thank you for starting this journey with us. We really appreciate it.